The question is, what kind of relationship do you have after that relationship has ended? Do you keep the bitterness? Do you keep the anger? Do you keep the finger pointing? Tumne galati ki or tum galat the? We were part of an open relationship. Exceptional achievement because, as most divorced people will tell you, it's not very common. Openness and tolerance we were trying to achieve. Such a wonderful moment for me. Sent the best debut to my granddaughter, and she made me so proud. I believe she's on the road to major stardom. Hi, I'm Kabir Bedi, and you're watching an exclusive interview with me done by Faridoon on Hungama on my book, Stories I Must Tell, The Emotional Life of an Actor.
Absolutely. Now, there are so many episodes in your life that you presented in the book that can be made into, I think, very engrossing books or web shows, which you expressed as well. That maybe.
Thank you so much. Lovely to hear you say that.
Now, one very engrossing episode is, and I think one of the most unique episodes in any life, in that maybe we may have heard in the last 40, 50 years, and that is your relationship with Protima.
Mm-hmm.
How you guys first met and the free-spiritedness that she brought to the table, how you accepted her the way she was, not entirely, but you still did. And the best part is that you guys were friends till she was around, which is really really nice. Like there may have been differences, but you liked each other. When you revealed about the passing away of your son, you addressed her as Fishmish, the way you used to call her back then. So that shows that level of, that familiarity which is still there. That formality has not come in, that familiarity is still there. And that is remarkable.
Yeah. Well, it was a remarkable relationship. We were part of the 60s, which is flower power, and as you mentioned, people protesting for streets, the Beatles, rock music. A whole new culture was being born. The pill suddenly gave people sexual freedom, and with it came all kinds of norms of sexual freedom. And we were exploring those norms. And as I explained, in the course of the relationship, it didn't start like that, but eventually we were part of an open relationship where our sexuality was open. And how that created its own problems, led to its own breakdowns, and set us in different directions. But the fact is, the very fact that we were able to experiment with open marriage in a time of extreme conservatism, where even living together was made headlines in newspaper magazines. They lived together before we got married, and we got married because we decided to have because puja came on the way. And we said we don't want to bring up a child in a family without married parents, because it would be very difficult for India at that time, for a child in India at that time. And so, but we did push the boundaries on a lot of social norms. And for all the grief we caused each other, we grew up together. We found our calling together. She found her calling in dance and went on to build the most iconic Gurukul of classical Indian dance, and we went our separate ways. But the key is to keep that friendship, because every parting is painful. There's no way around that. The question is, what kind of relationship do you have after that relationship has ended? Do you keep the bitterness? Do you keep the anger? Do you keep the finger pointing, tumne galati ki or tum galat the? Or do you try and find a way in which everyone can live happily together? And I think it is one of my things I'm proud of, that in all the ex-wives that I've had, I've remained friends with all of them. And many of them were friends between each other as well. And this I regard as an exceptional achievement, because, as most divorced people will tell you, it's not very common.
Which is really commendable, that element of respect that you've given to everyone, all your relationships. That is something which is commendable.
I've given them respect, but I've shared the traumas they caused me and the traumas I caused.
You have, like, if you're talking about Protima ji, for example, so you have written in detail in terms of what are things that you did not like, and what are the things that even during your relationship with Parveen, one of the reasons why you found solace in Parveen was that she was, in spite of a glamorous image, she was conservative at heart, and she was like a one-man woman sort of. And you mentioned that I was not happy with the experimentation of the open marriage that I had, and I liked this arrangement and this relationship. So you mentioned that, but at the same time, when you speak about Protima ji in glowing terms, in terms of the efforts that she did with the Odissi dance, at 26 she started and she practiced for 12, 14 hours. Her soles got badly bruised. And, that is something which is really commendable. That makes it so interesting that at one time, at one occasion, that you were mentioning about things that you did not like, and then you're appreciating the efforts that she is doing in terms of changing her entire life 360 degree.
Yeah.
That objectivity is very interesting.
Objectivity is one way, but I think humanity is another way. I think it's very important not to lose humanity. We all make mistakes. We all have regrets. But when we look back on them and write about them, can we understand the other person's point of view as well? Yes, you caused me pain. Why did you cause me pain? What is it in your makeup that made you do that? Was it sheer maliciousness? Was it sheer selfishness? Was it sheer insensitivity? What? Let's explore those things. Those are things that are interesting in human relationships. And this is a book about human relationships. And looking at them with humanity and admitting my own mistakes, warts and all.
So while you were writing about Protima ji, did you think about the fact, were you thinking from this perspective that what will Pooja feel when she reads about this? Was it there on the back of your mind? Did you think from that perspective?
I didn't worry about that too much because Pooja knows most of that history very well herself. And there was nothing in the book, I think, that'll surprise Pooja greatly. There might be some aspects that do. But overall, Pooja knew her mother very well. She knew a lot of things that happened. She was there for a lot of things that happened, even though she was a child. But then growing up, you remember, and your mother reminds you, and your father reminds you. So it's not as though Pooja was not aware of all the things that happened. So I wasn't particularly worried about how my writing about Protima might affect Pooja, because I was sure that in a larger sense it would not. And I would like to believe that I have done great justice to Protima in my writing about her. And I've written it as honestly as I can. When Protima came to me in Malaysia and said, I've streaked. Now, what is streaking? Streaking is somebody running naked across the stage or naked across the street, generally protesting something. And I didn't know what she's talking about. And she said, I streaked, and somebody photographed it when it got put in a magazine. She wasn't telling me the truth about how or why she streaked. It later turned out she did it as a publicity stunt for a magazine. But at that time, I was in the middle of shooting Sandokan. I wanted to focus my whole energy on getting this right. I'd been given the lead in a European television series. I wanted to make the most of it. I didn't want this to upset my equilibrium, that my wife has gone streaking in public. So I didn't make a fuss about it. I thought, okay, the deed's done. There's nothing I can do. I have to focus on what I have to do. And people couldn't understand how I could accept my wife streaking. Why I wouldn't walk out on her, why I wouldn't throw her out of the house or whatever. How could I possibly live with such a woman? That was the age we lived in. That was the kind of openness and tolerance we were trying to achieve. And that's what we hoped open marriage would give us, that freedom. In the end, of course, it caused me more anxiety than freedom, and therefore it ended. But those things aren't things that are hidden from the children, her children, or our children. They know about them. So I wasn't upset or worried about writing about them because they all knew that.
So Pooja was your firstborn, and you've repeatedly written about her with a lot of fondness in the book. At various stages, you've written about her, that how you went for vacations and what she meant to you. She's excited about the book. She has been commenting on your Instagram. You presented an award to Alaya recently for
I did.
best
That
debut.
was such a wonderful moment for me to go to the Filmfare Awards and present the Best Debut Actress Award to my granddaughter for her brilliant role in Jawani Janiman with Saif Ali Khan. I made it the best Filmfare for me ever, because this was like grandfather to granddaughter. And she made me so proud by what she did, and she was so good in the film, and she so deserved the award. I believe will emerge as one of the most talented actresses of her generation. I believe she's on the road to major stardom, and I think she's earned it. I have seen how hard she worked for almost 3 years, starting in New York and training there, training in India, training all hours and all aspects of the business, from dialogue to movement to dance to martial arts. I'm training with a passion that I could not even imagine coming from her, continuously. I mean, nobody's worked harder that I know personally for their profession than she has. So she earned it, and she deserves it. And I give her my blessings, and I wish her the best. Hi, I'm Kabir Bedi, and you're watching an exclusive interview with me done by Faridoon on Hungama on my book, Stories I Must Tell, The Emotional Life of an Actor.